Did you notice the change that I made there, Duke? Were you
Yes.
paying attention?
If my memory serves, you removed Dimitri but replaced it with the free kick.
That's it. Yeah. Because I remember when I did it when you used the other day, and I saw your face when Dimitri came up, just him on his own, and I saw you were like a little bit. So I thought, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll put in the free kick against Man United. Everyone's a winner then, surely.
Everyone is a winner indeed. I'd just like to point out, we're not sponsored by this. This is a shirt that I bought on the weekend, and there are other bourbon varieties on offer.
Of course. I'll get this bit out of the way real quick. Please don't forget to like, comment on, and share the stream. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. It really does help us out. And make sure you hit that bell icon for alerts on new content. And as always, we thank you very much indeed for your support. Before we get into matters relating to West Ham United 2, Aston Villa 1 at the London Stadium in the Premier League yesterday, you got a sore head, old son?
Well, no, not today, Ivan. I have to say, I drank very little yesterday. I think I only had 3 pints in the grand scheme of things yesterday. Let me stop my
3 pints of what, though?
Lager. Saturday, however, I started drinking around 10 a.m. I think I finished at about 3:30 the next morning.
Oh, my word.
Friday wasn't as bad. I think I started at about 1 p.m. and finished at about 12:30 in the evening. So, what a weekend! As I said to you, Rob, when we came on, or just before we went live, I'm suffering from the blues at the minute because it's over, and it was a 3-day weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that I've been looking forward to since 2019 when we last went, and. It was welcome, Lucia. It was exceptional. Luke Combs, the guy that finished it off last night, I don't think I'm likely to see a performance like that again in my lifetime. The guy was just absolutely outstanding. There was a little bit of trouble from people that shouldn't have been there. Basically, they pushed past security at the front and kind of then stole people's seats. Caused fights. People were physically abused. It wasn't pretty. But no, I'll be honest with you, mate. The tickets go on sale for next year on Friday. I'm looking at the same sort of seats, which have gone up by about 80 quid from what I paid 3 years ago for them, which again is part and parcel. So I'm looking at just under 400 quid for a 3-day ticket for next year. And I have no idea who's going to be performing until October. So I can buy my tickets on Friday, not know who's playing, and then we find out in October who's going to be there. But I don't care. It was all worth the money. It was the best night ever. A young girl, as I said to you earlier, Rob, Lucy,
yes.
I've been in contact with her a few times about her singing at my pub. She actually got onto stage at the O2 in front of a packed house, completely unawares. To sing Wagon Wheel with Darius Rucker. So, and then I met her afterwards, which was quite cool. Kind of got me head on. But I'll be honest, I spent the money to fit in. I'm not going to lie. And I felt bad for a group called King Calloway. Because for 10 minutes of their set...
Nothing to do with Mark Calloway, are they?
No. But for 10 minutes, 15 minutes of their set, I was kind of glued to my phone as well as listening to them as I tried to catch a bit of the game. So I do feel a bit bad. Needs be what needs must when West Ham are involved. Which is
Let's have a little look in the live chat, shall we? Let's see who we've got in the house.
Beautiful people in there.
He says, bring on Seville. Could be a historical night. I think it will be, mate. Sharky, he says it's a great intro. I like it. Thank you. I'm working on another one, actually, in the background. I've been telling Duke about it, but I'm not going to sort of reveal my hand to him.
Is that behind the curtain to the left-hand side of you there, Rob?
That's the one. That's the one. Gotcha. Did you see who we had that joined us? It wasn't planned on the pre-match.
I didn't. I'll be honest. I've not seen anyone's video.
Terrible. Terrible.
I've been, I'll be honest, I've been singing my heart out for most of the weekend.
Neil
Surprised
down there in South Australia.
He's loving life.
No, we were joined by the Gonzo-licious, I think he's now going by the name of someone that happy. Go on.
Hold the phone.
Go on.
Hold the phone.
What?
It would seem, and I'm not taking the piss, and I'm so pleased that this has happened.
Yes.
A friend of the channel has found the caps lock button.
So he'll hope you well, mate.
Good evening, Sahel. Thank you for joining us, buddy. And I'm pleased for you. I'm pleased that you've managed to click. That's fine.
Found the caps lock.
Sorry.
Intro's longer than the queue for fans waiting for Spill. Well, it's 2 hours. 2 hours? 2 minutes 36 seconds of your life. I think that the queue is probably going to take longer than 2 minutes and 36 seconds to negotiate. Who knows? But there you go. So yeah, we've got a few. They're saying hello to each other. It's all very, very good natured stuff. We got Jones in there as well. Jones in there with the crowd, all having a nice little mingle and comparing notes and shaking hands. And Mark's in there as well. Oh, hello. He's asking a question. We ain't even got started yet. He's if one of Cresswell, Antonio, or Bowen were fit enough to start on Thursday, who do you choose?
Oh, that's easy. For me, that's easy.
Oh, I've got to be careful what I say here.
Okay.
Because I know a piece of information, and I'm not supposed to reveal.
Okay. Can you drop it in private chat for me?
I'm on this. I'll tell you, but I am privy to a little bit of information which I'm led to believe.
I have my choice. So shall you take a mulligan on this one because then you don't really want to put yourself in a bit of shit, and I'll give my advice my choice before you put it in the private chat.
Hang on.
I'm not going to read it. I'm going to make my decision and then I'm going to read it.
I think Cresswell.
Oh, you're going Cressy, are you really?
Yep.
Oh, see, I'd go Gerrard.
Okay.
Now I'm going to have a look. Oh,
yeah.
Now I pick Bowen personally. I pick Bowen out of all of those. If if I had a choice, it would be Bowen. Been our best player this season, and I really do think we need him back. I think we're desperate to have him back now for this game. It's key. I think we can play with that, Bowen. I think we can play with that, Antonio. I think we can play with that, Cresswell. I'm not being funny. You could put Fredericks on the right. I know people wouldn't be overly. He did all right.
Yeah.
He did all right. I don't think people would be enthused to him. And then you could slide Johnson over to the left. And then you could, you could play around with a team up top to kind of go without Antonio. But for me, it's got to be Bowen. I think he's got to be the one that needs to be fit enough to play.
As I say, I'm answering the question possibly with a little bit of privileged information.
Hang on, go back one there.
What one? That one?
Before Sahel. No, before that one.
That one.
Oh, thanks, babe.
She loves you.
You missed me.
I saw her yesterday. She stood me up. We said we was going to meet at the boats, the Hammers Chat boats.
Yeah.
I was there in me finest clobber. I'd splashed some brute around me chops. I was looking very presentable. She didn't show.
Well, you know what? That's because she was worried.
And you know the funny thing, it came back to bite her on the arse a little bit because we was talking in the supporters club before the game.
Ken, please.
Even Ken's joining in. Look,
I haven't got my boots in here. I wore boots for 3 days. My feet feel like they're going to fall off. Honest to God, I wore my cowboy boots for 3 days. I could hardly walk this morning when I woke up, but it was worth it.
But yeah, it bit happy on the arse a little bit because in the supporters club, we was chatting and no. But she turned around and she said, "Oh, because she mentioned that she'd love to meet Gonzo and she's never met him." Blah blah blah. And who turned up at the boats?
See, I think I'd be a bit starstruck if I met Gerrard or Gonzo. I'll be honest with you.
Really?
I think I would. Yeah.
They're just normal blokes.
Yeah, I know, but I'll be honest with you. I felt the same a little bit at the weekend, right? We have a couple of guys. We have 3 people. We got a Facebook group for the attendees that attended the weekend,
Pete.
and they're constantly posting on Facebook, and they're talking about what they're going to be doing at the weekend and everything else. And I've never met them, although we interact.
You'll have to rewind, Rob.
Again, it was good, Rob. Cheers. But you'd have to go all the way back because I've covered that. I might cover it a bit at the end. And I saw Paul. He's a Scottish fella.
Yeah,
come all the way down from Scotland for the show. He could have got to Glasgow, but he prefers the full day events. And I bumped into him. And I was just very high. Didn't know what to say because I've seen this bloke constantly on Facebook for like the last 2.5 years.
Probably rehearsed it many times in your head, probably even subconsciously. And when the moment came, you bottled it.
Him, a guy called Peter Stoffard, who is a singer in a band.
Yeah.
But he and a lady called Nikki. I get tongue-tied when I see these people. I can imagine I'd be the same with Gonzo, Russ. Like because it's very strange. It's very strange.
He's a really nice guy, Gonzo. He's just a regular guy. He, no need to be starstruck. So
Want to go back? Want to go back to this one? You're not having my shirt, Beck. You are not having it. This cost me 80 quid? 85 quid. I don't. So, you're not.
I'll have a word with him afterwards, Beck. Don't worry. I'll see if I can persuade him.
You can actually buy them second hand. Actually, you can buy them from the. Where's me? The bag's over there. It's a Dutch website. There were Dutch people that were selling
genuine fake, like they sell in Turkey, by any chance.
No. Look, it's a proper. Look.
We've been going for nearly 15 minutes, and I don't think we've really spoken about the game at all.
Look, it was the proper store.
Going, get on with it.
Out there, and you can actually buy them off their website for the same price. Did I buy that denim waistcoat? No, is the answer. No. It wasn't a waistcoat. It was actually a sleeveless shirt, which was worn, I'd like to point out, on the Saturday by a gentleman by the name of Kip Moore. But he has arms that would probably do justice to Prime Shawn. He actually looked like Prime Shawn Michaels. He has a voice like Bon Jovi. He has a voice like Bon Jovi and a look like the Heartbreak Kid. So I it was amazing. But yeah, I'm going to wear my cap. I'm going to go all in. It's not It's not a waistcoat. Yeah, I'm going to wear me out.
Chipped into the centre of the table, are you? Pushing them all in with your pocket aces that then get cracked on the river. How many times? Terrible. Should we start talking about the match now? 16 and a bit minutes in.
No, I'm going to answer Sharky's question.
Sharky's question? What, this one?
Yeah. It was 3 days. It started. Well, it was actually 4 days. 4 and 3.5 days. It started at 7 o'clock on Thursday night with singer-songwriters, and then Stop It, Kent, and then it continued all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and finished with Luke Combs, who finished his set at about 11 last night, which was amazing. 3 days. I've never been so drunk.
Shall we talk about the match?
I'm happy to. These people keep asking me questions. I'm not going to be rude.
Do it. Right, I've got to go full screen. Okay. So, this was the starting lineup. Fabianski in goal, Cresswell, Zuma, Dawson, Johnson, the back four, Declan Rice, the captain, Thomas Soucek, the double pivot, Ben Rama left, Fornals right, Lanzini, the 10, Michael Antonio as the number 9. Now, I appreciate you was obviously in the O2 as this was ongoing, but as you said earlier, you were catching bits and pieces. When you did see the starting lineup, what were your initial thoughts, especially not just for yesterday's match, but with Seville on the horizon? What were you thinking?
Hey, listen, I I am a full believer, regardless of the kind of situation that it puts us in and the situation we now find ourselves in.
Yeah.
Okay, with the injuries that we have. But I'm a big believer in what Moyes does, and that's going as good as it gets. And I'm at the point where I didn't disagree with what he's done. I completely agree with what he's done.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have changed it any other way.
Even hindsight being perfect vision now, with the benefit of the hindsight, Cresswell went off injured, Antonio went off injured. We got the 3 points, granted, but
Job done. Right decision there.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're sort of like of the opinion that we'll take care of Seville when Seville comes round. But
listen, we'll go up against Seville, and whatever Moyes feels is his strongest 11 available to field, he'll field that. Whether that's Antonio, Bowen, Cressy, Vlasic, whatever the case may be, being back fit. If he thinks they're 75% fit, and he goes right, well that's enough to face Seville. We'll worry about what follows. And yeah, no, I'm making right. Listen, if we got a 75% fit, Cressy, Bowen, I give up. Cressy, Bowen, and/or I forgot the other one. Antonio, Bowen, Cressy, Vlasic. If they're 75% fit, they play. They play. Huge game. Our biggest now since probably the FA Cup final, or I know in your opinion one of the European games or the final game of whatever season it was. I know we've spoken about it before. I just never remember. He'll go with a 75% fit side against them, and I'll make him right. Whatever. Listen, I'm behind him. Apart from something that we're not going to mention, and we're not going to mention it, I'm refusing to mention it. It happened a couple of months back. We're not talking about it. We're not even. I'll drop the ban hammer for 5 minutes on people that bring it up in the chat. But he'll pick the best team, and I'm fully behind him on it.
Fair enough. Okay, so that was.
Hey, leave off, woman.
What?
Leave off. You and Ken. Listen, Ken. Yes, they are. They're comfortable, happy. Stop it. Okay. Otherwise, you become Kerry quite quickly.
Oh dear. Right. Okay.
Right.
Move on to the Villa 11. Now, I actually did better on predicting the Villa lineup than I actually did the West Ham lineup, because I did kind of think he might make a couple of changes. I thought he would rest Antonio. I thought he'd do a little bit of jiggery pokery. I thought the goalkeeper, the back four, and the double pivot, I thought, yeah, he's not going to muck about with that, but he might have a little jiggle around with the front four. The Villa lineup, I got spot on. The formation, was it a 4-3-1-2? Was it a 4-diamond-2? Whatever. It was Martinez in goal, Digne left, Cash right, Mings and Chambers were the centre-backs. Douglas Luiz holding. You had Jacob Ramsey and John McGinn in central mid, with Coutinho floating around just behind Ollie Watkins and Danny Ings. Two strikers up top. Not usual you see that in the modern era, is it, Duke?
No, but then I think Ollie Watkins is getting pissed off with being shoehorned wherever he needs to play to be able to get in that team because of the arrival of Danny Ings. I think Gerrard realised he needs to play in both in the central position up top. And they're doing all right because of it. The addition of Coutinho pulling the strings behind them, I tell you, they're a dangerous side going forward.
Dangerous side going forward, but I'll tell you what they were doing. I don't know sort of how much of the match you've seen on the highlights or what you've heard. They were going down. I could use a really vulgar expression, but they were going down at regular intervals. Let's just put it like that.
Well, as Happy's just said there, yeah. Again, I'm going to go back and watch more of the highlights.
Yeah,
When I can.
every time. I mean, there was someone took a ball in the face, and the referee stopped play, and I was like, I'm not being funny. That's not really a head injury. That's sort of like head to ball contact. I mean,
What was
we shouldn't be stopping play for that. I'm sorry.
There was a
Pat,
drop
hope you
ball.
well.
There was a drop ball, if I remember rightly.
There was a couple of drop balls.
He gave to Villa. We were about 35 yards away from our goal. We went up for a header, and he kind of backed into our defender or our midfielder. We went over the top of him, and he gave them a drop ball. And I still can't work out why. I mean, I was trying to listen to King Callaway.
I was, that was the thing that frustrated me, because it really did interrupt the flow of the game. And listen, if a player's injured, fine, I get it, but it was just as Happy said, slightest touch, bang, they were on the deck. Oh no, get the physio on. And it's like, there was nothing wrong with him half the time. I mean, Luca Dino, obviously fine. He got injured. He went off, and on came Ashley Young in his place. But the rest of them were just like embarrassing. I mean, Callum Chambers, oh, geez. Seriously, I mean, he's meant to be a sort of like a tough tackling centre-back. It was just, no, come on, you're better than that.
Did you see
and I agree with that, Ken.
Made? Was it someone spoke about, I think it's Leeds, and roughly on the 70-minute mark, someone goes down to waste time.
No, it's Southampton you're talking about.
Oh, it's Southampton. They go down.
Yeah.
I think Gonzo and Gio were talking about it, weren't they?
Sometime between 60 and 70 minutes, there'll be someone that will go down needing medical attention, and they all bugger off to the touchline and take on their gels and what. And to be honest, there's a little part of me that's like, is it cheating? And I'm like, I don't think it is. I think it's sort of like it's pushing the line.
It's circumventing what's there, Rob. Yeah,
it's up to the ref to deal with that.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, it's gamesmanship, it's brinksmanship. Call it what you will. They're not breaking any rules that are currently sat there.
No. But this wasn't this, Duke. This wasn't
that. No. This was
from minute one. I mean, this was embarrassing.
This was sportsmanship. And I mean, again, I can only go by a lot of what I've read, because I haven't seen the game properly yet. But
they did, Pete, big time.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they had the best coach in it, didn't they? He left for £100 million, but they had the best coach in Tom Daly's stepdad.
Wow, I could have described it in a like I say, I could have used a slightly more vulgar term. I will resist the temptation because it's before 9 o'clock. But I'll tell you later. I'll use that one. Kieran, hope you're well, mate. He's off to work. It's not good. Not good. Yes, it was. Yeah, he booted Douglas Luiz. Yeah, because it was Pat that was asking earlier. Who did he? Was it Pat? No, Sharky. Sorry. Ask who Lanzini booted in the face. To be honest, he probably made him look better. Oh, hello. Chris is in the house. Hope you're well, my friend. I was wearing Crocs to watch West Ham. Even he's at it now. He's no, he's a friend of the channel. No, leave him alone.
We ain't no friend of mine at the minute.
Oh, dear.
Bloody.
What
look,
have?
He's him. Look, down here, Harry.
I can probably sort of like say, obviously, because I was there. The first half, I thought we started all right. There was, after about 5 minutes, there was a chance. Oh, hello. Welcome to Lewisham. There was a chance after about 5 minutes, which Ben Rama, he sort of got the ball in the penalty box. He used quick feet, manipulated the ball around. I think it was Callum Chambers. Got his shot away, and Martinez made the save. I thought, good start, fantastic. But it just seemed to me like the throwing down of bodies by Villa, for the slightest thing, just seemed to sort of really break the momentum of the game. And it was quite frustrating. But I think we were the better team in that first half. I'm not saying we were fantastic or anything like that, but I just felt that we were the team in control. I mean, what you've seen, what have you seen sort of like of highlights or any of the information of the team yourself?
First half, like you say, what I will say is I'm not gonna discuss some things that have been put in the chat already about a certain player because I don't want attention being bought because I'm digging someone out or I'm not giving them the praise that they want. I just think there was some points in the first half, and I just think we try to make it harder for ourselves, Rob. I don't know whether we want to try and walk things into the net or whatever the situation is, but we're not prolific, and as Peter says there, added Les Dawson miss. But I just think we're going to end up buggering ourselves by not taking chances when they arrive.
Yeah.
You know, you look at the Liverpool game, and you ask questions, didn't you, as to
yeah,
how
the
we've
last
not
couple of
come out
games
of
we
that with
had been
something.
quite wasteful.
You look at the Seville game. You're like, seriously, how are we not putting these in the back of the net? And now here we are again talking about the fact that we had some chances. Yes, we end up going on and winning the game, so it becomes a moot point. But it still needs to be discussed as to why we're not taking chances, why we're not burying teams in the first half when we probably should have done.
Yeah, I mean, it was, like I say, it was a decent first half. I think it was just spoilt by the shenanigans that Aston Villa employed. And I don't necessarily blame Steven Gerrard entirely for it because, to be fair, they were a team that did it under Dean Smith. So it's not something that didn't happen under Smith and it's Gerrard's walked in and he's sort of like, he's told them to sort of do that. That's a tactic that they have in them as
Employed
individuals.
already.
So yeah, it's not something
kind
I
of
blame.
been brainwashed into them, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, we got into the second half, and Villa actually sort of had a couple of opportunities. I mean, I think just on my notes here that Coutinho, about 5 minutes into the second half, he had a little forward run down the left. He wasn't closed down. He has a go from just outside the box. It went wide, so nothing came of it. It was shortly after that, though, that Antonio went down with his injury. The reports are that he's apparently mouthed. That someone sort of like watched his sort of like lip movements and said that apparently he's told the physio that it's not my hamstring, quotes unquotes. Whether that's the case, I don't.
I kind of logged in at this point. This is kind of, I saw this bit. I think this might have been when I was in the queue to get into see King Calloway. Happy, I know you like a little bit. You were more old school country girl, weren't you? But have a little look up of King Calloway. They're not a bad. Stick them on your Spotify and have a little listen, babe. Them and Restless Road. They weren't at C2C, but they were. Yeah, this is where I logged on and I saw him go down and I saw them kind of trying to snap his leg off. I think the way they were trying to stretch him out. You could see it wasn't good. They were massaging in and around the back of his leg, just above his knee. On the back of his thigh. You could see that it wasn't looking good. But I'll give him his due. He got up.
Yeah, he
tried to run it off.
Yeah.
And yeah, he went down again, didn't he? And
yeah, you knew when it happened the second time that it wasn't. And to be fair, and look, I know you said, "Oh, we're not going to talk about the TW words," which is fine. No. Hang on. All I'm going to say is that aside from that, this is something that we all pretty much knew was going to happen at some point, didn't we? It hasn't happened up to this point, but with the European football, with him going off to the Caribbean to play, you just kind of knew you keep playing Russian roulette with his hamstrings, and at some point you put the gun against your head, the gun's going to go off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it went off yesterday.
And it's bitterness. But that being said, I had a bit of a when I saw him warming up. When I was getting ready for him to come on. But on he came.
He got. I will say, if you didn't see it, he got a brilliant reception.
He did.
Now,
he did.
What happened yesterday? He scored a fantastic goal, and obviously he changed the game into our momentum as far as the scoreboard was concerned. Has he been a value for money signing when you put in what £20 million transfer fee, 100 million or so, 100,000 or so a week? No, he's had moments. I mean, I thought he started his West Ham career brightly. He then got an injury against Spurs, if I remember correctly, in the home game under Pellegrini. Came back, wasn't quite the same player, and other players had moved ahead of him in the pecking order, so he was possibly a little bit of a victim of circumstance. He obviously had the goal against Chelsea in just after Project Restart. Fine, no problem. So we'll always be grateful for him for that. To be honest, since then there's been, and like I say, this is not me trying to kick the guy. There has been precious little. I think everybody is pretty much universally agreed on that. Take that to one side. Just box that for a moment, though. As a human being, I feel tremendous, not pity, because I think that's not the right word, but I have a tremendous degree of sympathy as a human being towards Andrei Yarmolenko for what he must be going through mentally, thinking about family back home with all of this nonsense that's going on in his homeland. He got
his family out, didn't they?
Say again.
I think they got his family out, didn't they? I think
he must still have family there, though. I'm guessing there may be uncles, nephews, cousins. That I don't know if all of them got out. I know that they said that Lucas Fabianski's had a hand in helping. Andrei Yarmolenko with this. Yeah, so let's not go there. We're not going to go there. We might talk about him because we will talk about him because he got 2 assists. In all fairness to him, but Yarmolenko, no, as a human being, felt very, very sorry for the guy, if that's the right word. He got a tremendous reception from the crowd when his name was announced. He got a tremendous reception from the crowd when he came on, and when he scored, oh my goodness. And it was such a beautiful moment, but tinged with that little bit of sadness. Do you know what I mean?
What a finish, if I may.
Great.
What a finish.
Great finish.
Ball was pinged into him. I know it's classed as an assist. I don't think the ball was that fantastic. But his control...
What, the ball into Yarmolenko?
Yeah, the ball into Yarmolenko, okay. I don't think was a fantastic ball.
I'll tell you what was a fantastic ball. The ball that was played by Craig Dawson to Saeed Benrahma.
Yes, the
ball
was superb. Don't get me wrong. The touch from Benny was fantastic. Right. The ball into Yarma wasn't the best. You only have to look at the way he not struggled to control it. I mean, he did control it, and he controlled it really well. But it wasn't the easiest of passes to bring under control. And then he kind of, like Peaches just said there, what an instinctive finish. It was a fantastic instinctive finish. He bought the ball, got the ball under control. I thought we kind of lost the opportunity because it didn't look like it didn't have time to take a second controlling touch. And he just kind of instinctively threw his other foot at it.
Yeah, controlled with his right, swiveled, hit it with his left.
And it was
Martinez done.
Superb. Like, it was a striker's instinctive.
Oh, hello.
We got royalty. What?
Russ.
See, if I met this man, I'd be tongue-tied as well, honestly. If I met the Russ,
If
I
you
would be
met
very.
him, you'd be right. Okay.
I would.
Okay.
He's like a celebrity to me.
Really?
I wouldn't know what to say to him. Oh yeah.
He's probably watching this saying, "You daft sod."
He probably is. I've no doubt. That's just me. Oh, Russ, can I get a picture with you, please?
I'll tell you what. Should I send him the link?
Hello, he's laughing at me. Don't send me the link. He's laughing at me. I'm getting back.
You want to keep him the other side of the fence, do you?
Yeah. And I just no, seriously, Russ. I honestly. But again, the celebration and the fact that the players run to him, you know, he broke down. He broke down. You could see he was crying. You know, there were tears. I'll be honest. I was there with my brother, and I put my arm around him, and we got him in a headlock, and we kind of stood kind of for it, and it was an emotional moment. I don't know what it would have been like. I'd rather see. Right, I'd just like to say I'd rather see Rusty B in the bath than the second comment down after that one, to be honest with you. No disrespect, Russ, but I'd rather see you in the bath than the next one. There we go. She's in the bath eating white chocolate. No, I'd rather see Russ.
So let me get this straight. You'd rather see a bloke in the bath than a lady?
No. I'd rather see anyone but happy, if you want. Yeah, all right. But yeah, it was really moving. It was really moving. I love to play this one over, but there was one thing that my brother said to me.
Yeah.
As they all went back to the halfway line to carry on, was that Rice went over after everyone else had come away and they were going back. Rice went over and he put his arm around Yarmolenko.
Yeah.
And he pulled him in, and my brother's exact words were, "That's what a captain does."
Yes,
that's a captain moment, and that stuck with me. That stuck with me, you know, because he's obviously learned from Note in that front. Absolutely. On how to be the club captain. He's obviously learned a lot from Mark Noble on how to be our club's captain, and it was a great moment. And like I say, my brother mentioned it. My brother turned around and said, "That's being a captain right there. That's a captain," and it just stuck. It just stuck with me. It's something I wanted to bring up on the show. But obviously, I completely agree. You know, and it was. I just think it was absolutely fantastic that man got one of the goals yesterday. You know, I think it was fitting for him. Like you say, take all of it and put it in a box that what come beforehand. Let's not worry about that. Let's talk about this moment, and that was a very, very special moment. Very special.
It should be noted that before Yarmolenko scored, probably about 14 minutes or so before, there was a fantastic save. I don't know if you've seen it, made by Lucas Fabianski from John.
But he put it on the post.
Oh, he put it on the post. What a
hit! What a save!
Yeah, pushes it onto the post and gets it when it comes back towards him. Beautiful. And it was mentioned earlier about how did Dawson not score? Well, it was to be fair, Dawson didn't.
He was under it. He was under it.
Get above the ball, yeah. But did you see the save that Martinez made from the Zuma header? Oh my word!
Yeah. Oh yeah. Listen, it was also
that was save of the season, mate.
Like the one, yeah, but it's like the Vlasic one from against Sevilla. Anywhere else, more than likely it's a goal. It's a great save. I'm not taking anything away from it. He's had to stop the ball from crossing the line. And from a goalkeeper's point of view, he won't be happy with where he put it, Rob. A goalkeeper is always told you put it away and out of the danger zone.
I think he did all he could to get his hands to it, mate.
He didn't know anything about it. He just managed to make the save. But the fact that he put it back into the danger zone is something that's now going to be running through Martinez's mind is, what could I have done better? That's what he's going to be thinking as a goalkeeper. One of my best friends is a goalkeeper. He's a goalkeeping coach. And I spoke to him a few times about stuff at Fabianski and the differences between him and Ariola. And he did say, goalkeepers are always told to push it away from the danger area. He will be frustrated with himself whether or not he meant to. He's put it back into the danger area, which, if Dawson scores from it, it probably becomes a goalkeeping mistake, to be fair, because he's pushed it back into danger, very much like Fabianski against Brentford, Rob.
Yeah. Just look at
from
those
the goal,
stats,
wasn't it?
Have a look at these stats, though, Duke. Look at I know this is not the only metric I use, but I do think that being able to pass a ball to your teammates is a major indicator on how you've performed in a match. Look at some of that stat from Craig Dawson, 93% passing accuracy. Look at Zuma, though, 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
that's crazy.
You can't knock that.
You absolutely
can't.
Yeah.
You look at Johnson, and that ain't pretty.
Yeah, that's probably one thing that disappoints me with him.
It ain't pretty. But then, when you go further forward, and you look at our two attacking players sitting there on 81%, that doesn't fill me with confidence either. I mean, it needs to be better from both of those players on that side with regards to their passing accuracy.
Yeah,
you look at Lanzini. We go back to our ball retention, Rob, and Lanzini's on 88, and that's not even been his best for the season.
Nowhere near it.
We got two other players. One of them, yes, he has 2 assists, which means that that's 2 passes that found their target.
There was one he made on, I think it was about minute 52, that was about a simple 5-yard pass, and it didn't go to its destination. I've got to be honest, I thought, and I know you didn't want to, but I thought...
I'm not going to, you can.
No, but I thought Benrahma started well, faded badly, had a real sort of spell where I thought, what on earth is he doing? And then, like I say, he's finished the game with 2 assists, and we've said it, we mentioned Matthew Letitia. You said it yourself. A player that for an awful lot of a match didn't seem to have any real influence on a match. Bang. Moment of quality changes the game. Although I will say that as far as the second assist is concerned, if we'll come to the second goal...
Well, I was about to say that. I was about to turn around and say to you, Rob, you say 2 moments of class or moments of class, and all of a sudden, bang, it's the goal. On both occasions, neither of those moments were class from Benrahma. The class came in the lead to him getting the ball. So with the first one, here we go. The first one, fantastic ball from Dawson. I don't think the ball from Benrahma was fantastically amazing. It was a great touch and a great goal from Benrahma for the first goal. The run from Declan Rice.
Oh,
for me,
that was what I was going to come to. That was ridiculous.
Key moment in that second goal. Like you say, Letitia did nothing for X amount and then come up with something.
Evening, James.
And that's great, but the 2 pieces of class in the build up to the 2 goals weren't Benrahma's assisting passes. The first goal was the Dawson into Benrahma, and then the run from Declan Rice was the piece of class in the build up to the second goal.
Oh, Declan Rice, no question about that. I mean, he got the ball just outside his box. He put John McGinn on his arse. He's powered through midfield into the final third of the opposition. Releases the ball to Benrahma, who's just ahead of him on the left. Fornals is coming in from the right. He's unmarked. He plays the ball into him. I got to be honest, if Fornals didn't at least hit the target, I'd have been like, what are you doing? Seriously. But that goal pretty much killed the game off. I thought that was that. 8 minutes to go, 2 goals up. Surely they can't come back, can they? You'd think.
Yeah, you'd think. Well, then listen, this is what we're good at. What I will say is, no, Ken, we're not comparing him. Budgie, I think that's because they practice their passing a lot more than we do. Trudge, I'm going to agree with you in what you said about Benny. He seemed to perform better with he seemed to perform better with Johnson behind him than he does with Cresswell. I think you might be right on that one.
That's an interesting one. I'd never thought about that.
What's that?
That maybe Benny thrives more with Ben Johnson.
Yeah, because he hasn't got to track back to defend as much. And unfortunately, that's not. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna rant and rave about it. Yeah, it was a good pass. I'm not saying it was a bad pass. Before now, yes, the first one was awful.
Can I just, sorry to interrupt? I'm just gonna make it clear, Ken. Listen, I'm not Matt Le Tissier, in my opinion, is one of the Premier League all-time greats. I'm not comparing him in terms of that. I can't make that comparison. I don't have enough behind Ben Rama to make that comparison. I'm just making the comparison from the point of view that a player that can
do nothing,
do not an awful lot, or trying to do things. And here's where I will give Ben Rama a bit of due credit. It wasn't going so well for him in that sort of phase before he got the first assist, after probably from about minute 15 or so onwards. I would suggest that it started to kind of go a little bit south for him. But the one thing I have to do to give the guy due credit for is he did show a great level of courage and perseverance in carrying on, trying to make it work. Do you know what I mean? Fair enough. Like I say, he had the period where it wasn't going for him. I don't think anyone that was watching the game and paying attention could say otherwise. But he had a great level of perseverance about him. But the comparison to Le Tissier is purely making the point that Le Tiss had games where he didn't seem to do awful lot, and then bang, he'd do something to change the game. And I'm kind of saying the same with Ben Rama. Quality-wise, is he as good as Le Tiss? No, I can't make that. But just in terms of that aspect of it, Ken, as I say.
What I will say is that Trudge has mentioned there about the fact that, Benny can play his more natural game. The problem is, and it's not hate. It's not hate. I'd like to agree with James. I'd like to agree with James. I'd like to agree with James. There we go. There we go.
Exactly what I said. Yeah.
Right. Spot on. Right. Same what Trudge said about Benny. Unfortunately, Moyes doesn't want Benny to be that player. Moyes wants Benny to be one that will track and work hard for the team. We bang on about Fornals playing over on that side of the pitch when he plays with Cresswell. Is the amount of work, the work rate that Fornals puts in. He's up and down. He helps defend that side of the pitch. He helps defend from the front, in my opinion, with Cresswell on the pitch, which Benny doesn't tend to do. In my opinion, and again, I may well be wrong, and other people may disagree with me.
To an opinion?
I'm going to say that Benny's a flair player, or he's one of those luxury players that we can't afford to have not do grunt work as well as their luxury stuff. Do you know what I mean? We can't afford just to have that. We need someone that has the luxury of being able to do his thing as well as do the graft when we don't have the ball. We need someone that will track back. We need someone that will do the dirty work, which Fornals has got down to a T over the last couple of seasons, and we need that also from Benny. We need that from Benny, regardless of what position he plays in. We still need that from him. You see Lanzini coming back and getting stuck in. You see it from Bowen. He's back at right back at some points, helping out. You see it with Fornals on the other side. You see it with Antonio. And so yeah, it's frustration, and it's also frustration for Moyes because as to what I've just as to what I've just as to what I've just said. So
that is true,
yeah,
Pete.
I mean,
That
listen,
is true.
He you know, I think we're in a position where right now, Benny, as I think James has just said somewhere, at the end of the day, we're going to see more of him now because of the injuries we've got. I think Moyes was right to bring him off. I think Moyes was right to bring him off, and the reason I think Moyes was right to bring him off
What, yesterday?
I think we're going to need him for Thursday night. I think if Bowen or Antonio or Cresswell are not back for this game of Vlasic, that knock is a little bit more serious than what it is. Is that we're going to need him, but he needs to be a player that is going to be tracking. He's willing to do a bit of dirty work. Gone are the times when we don't have. Gone are the times when I think teams don't have that luxury. If you look at United with Ronaldo, he's a player that does what he wants, and United are suffering for it because the prick doesn't track back. He doesn't want to do the dirty work. All right, he's had a career where essentially he probably don't have to anymore. He's entitled to the right to not have to do the dirty work. He's done his grunt work. I'm now this player. So, I think if we're going to see more of Benny, and if he wants to be a continued part of the success that we're creating here at the club, he's going to have to start partaking in some of that dirty work. And I hope to see it. I really hope to see it because I'd love to have him there. No, don't agree with that, but hey ho.
It's like I say, it's a game of opinions. But the one thing I will say that Benny's got now is exactly what was said earlier. I think it was James, wasn't it, where he said about the injuries. We need him more than ever, and that is absolutely true. Whether you rate Benrahma, whether you don't, the facts are that we've got a little bit of an injury crisis up top. Now, the way I look at it, I think that he's got an amazing opportunity to cement a first team place, irrespective of what happens with Antonio. I mean, listen, if he goes out there and he makes 2 moments of 2 assists against Seville, we go through, or a goal, whatever. If he can contribute in that sort of fashion, he makes it very, very difficult for David Moyes to shunt him back onto the bench, even when Bowen and Antonio become available again.
Yes and no, because if he's only really assisting, one goal in a game or 2 goals in a game, but then isn't really contributing anything at any other point in that game. Well, that's difficult. For me, serious question for that James has just put. What's Benrahma got to do to make the successful one in your eyes regarding Benrahma? He now has what? 10 games?
Not 8 games in the league,
games.
I think it is.
8 games in the league.
Is it 8 or 9?
No, it's 9. 36, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
38.
7. 9.
We played 29, so it's 9. Yeah.
For me, it's consistency over the next 9 league games. If he gets to start, it's to be consistent.
Are we talking in terms of his general overall play, like the passing stats, etc., not necessarily in terms of assists and goals? Or
no, it's about being consistent. So it's tracking back and helping the team. It's making tackles. It's basically becoming a nuisance of himself when we don't have the ball. A bit like Antonio does when he's up top on his own. He will chase across the back 4. He will chase across player after player. That he becomes a nuisance of himself. He hassles, harasses.
Right.
If I see that from Benrahma, and I don't just mean run down to the guy that's got the ball and then, he's passed it on to another player. I'd expect him to then chase the ball to that other player and harass and harry and harangue and all the rest of it. If he does that, and he does that over 90 minutes, not just one or two occasions with a setup of a goal, that's where I'm at. That'd be just being consistent in your play, proving a point, going on those runs. But when you go on those runs, he's making the right intelligent decision to pass the ball off maybe just a little bit earlier. Not, I don't know, a kind of harassed decision in his mind that's the wrong one. Consistent in his decision making. For me, if he can do that, then yes, it'll be a successful one. I don't agree with what Mitch has said.
Can I just give my answer?
Yeah, go on.
My answer is really simple and yet really complex at the same time. What has he got to do to make this season a successful one? He's got to impress David Moyes. It's as simple as that. Now, as I say, it's a simple answer, yet it's a complicated answer because he's got to impress David Moyes. It's not about what I think is a success. I mean, I could sit here and say, right, well, a success for me is X amount of goals, X amount of assists. It is, for me, it is about sort of like getting a bit more of a consistency. I think there have been moments during the season. I think if you look at the beginning of the season, fantastic. If you look around about the Christmas New Year period, I thought he was excellent. There was that little piece in between where I think his performances could be a little bit hit and miss. Do you know what I mean?
He's erratic with his decision making.
I think he needs to get rid of that streaky nature. He'll tend to sort of like, if you look at the sort of like the sort of like the goals and assists column, they tend to, like I say, they've come in a clump at the beginning of the season and around just before he went to AFCON. Obviously, he got the 2 assists yesterday. Fantastic. I hope he can go on another run where he can put together between now and the end of the season, let's say in the Premier League, 9 games, let's say he scores 3 goals in those 9 games, 4 goals maybe, and chips in with another 3 or 4 assists. Fantastic. Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean,
it's David Moyes he's got to impress. And as I say, it's a simple answer, but it's a complex one at the same time.
I mean, I don't agree with what Mitch said. I'm just trying to find it. Sahil's found his caps lock button again. Mitch says, I think it's more the older generation who hate on Penny. Football has changed nowadays and players aren't like they used to be. No, you're right. But I've also adapted with the way that I view football. And I still want players to work when they're on the pitch, not stand around like a fairy with his finger up his arse. I want to see him fucking working when he's on the pitch. I don't want to see him shirking 50-50 challenges. I don't want to see him standing around with his hands on his face, not doing a lot. I want to see him working. I want to see him making intelligent decisions. I want to see him. I
agree with that from Sahil. I agree with that from Sahil. I don't think he's a Moyes choice, or if he was a signing that was sanctioned by Moyes, it was like, oh, go on then. There's no one else. My number one choice has gone to Crystal Palace, and I'm not quite convinced, but it's either him or no one. So go on then. Do you know what I mean? It just seems to me that it's not. It wasn't a signing that David Moyes was overly sort of convinced by. But there you go.
Yeah, but it's listen. We ain't gonna cheer up everyone.
Yeah. Obviously, Villa got a goal in what was it? It was the 90th minute. Jacob Ramsey. Now, I was on yesterday on a stream with Peach and Budgie and Lucas and Charlie was on there. Charlie Walsh. I actually do hold, and this might sound really harsh, but I was talking via WhatsApp voice notes a little bit earlier on to someone that actually agrees with me on this following point. That being Jazz of West Ham Irons channel. And if you haven't already, please go over there and give them a sub. In fact, sub to every single West Ham channel you can, because they've all got their own slant on things. They've all got their own opinions, their own sort of like things, and not all of them might agree with us, but you know what? We're all one family, so subscribe away. I actually do not blame, that's probably the wrong word, but I do hold Fabianski responsible for the goal that Jacob Ramsey got, because just before they scored it, there was a ball that was played into the penalty area. I don't know if you probably didn't see it, because on the highlights, they didn't show it on the highlights that I've seen. But the ball's played in. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Lucas Fabianski had ample space, ample time to come out and catch the ball cleanly. And he didn't. He punched the ball out. From the resultant play, guess what? Villa put together an attacking move and Villa scored. So I do feel that Fabianski let himself down there and he lost a couple of marks. He made a fantastic save from Danny Ings. World-class save. But that I did think was a blot in his copybook, in my opinion. I mean, have you had a chance to see that, or did you not see it?
No, I haven't. As I said, I'm going to go back and I didn't see that on the highlight.
Yeah, I don't think they showed it.
I mean, it's frustrating because it's difficult, because I've been bagging on about Fabianski and his I told you it's fan cats. Yeah, Fabianski coming out playing the ball, and he doesn't like doing it. He doesn't like commanding his area, which is what I've said, which Ariola is good at doing. So it's just that rough part. Tom says there. You'll come to that in a minute. But yeah, it's difficult because, like I say, I haven't seen it, so I can't make a judgment on that one. All I'll say is we're sitting here, we've won 2-1, and we're there. You know, we're still in that chase for those top 6 positions. We're still holding on currently by the skin of our teeth, and the fact that Tottenham can't win a fucking game. I've said that now. What's what happens Sunday?
But they're really streaky. They'll win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game.
Yeah, well, they lost the game the other day, Rob.
Yeah.
If they're on that streak, you know what they're going to do on Saturday and Sunday, don't you?
Maybe. I guess it depends upon what happens Thursday, to be honest with you. I think that a lot of it is based upon how we come through that, how we fare, what the mindset is, what the feeling is in the dressing room. Do you know what I mean? It's like, can you imagine how they would feel going to that game at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium if we come off of a positive result that sees us progress to the quarterfinals of a European competition?
Oh, mate, can you imagine what we'll be like as fans? Can you imagine what we'll be like as fans going to, you know, we'll make it difficult for Spuds at their own ground if we come off the back of a...
Cheers. Oh, dentists. Surely you shouldn't be going in the morning, Kent, if you're still there. Surely you should be going at 2:30.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, listen, we'll make it difficult for them. Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll deal with Seville. We're playing Thursday. So we're not going to talk too much about that Seville game, obviously. Like I say, we've touched on it at various points, but we're not going to sort of go into too much detail. Suffice to say that I think that the omission of Bowen, Cresswell, and Antonio, if all 3 of them miss it, does make it a bit more difficult. But listen, David Moyes, he's had moments where we've thought, not too sure here, and he's pulled a rabbit out of the hat on numerous occasions. Admittedly, he can't do it every time, and it may well be that Thursday it doesn't come to pass. Listen, exactly what I said, James. I said it was a simple answer, but very, very complex at the same time. He has to impress David Moyes. If David Moyes has got the opinion that Saïd Benrahma isn't good enough, then he needs to convince David Moyes that Saïd Benrahma is good enough. How he does that, now that's the complex bit. But listen, that needs to be a conversation that Benny and Benrahma needs to sit down David Moyes and say, right, what do I need to do to be a first name on your team sheet? What do you
A lot
need me
more.
to do? And he needs to go out there and whatever David Moyes says you need to do this, then he needs to, by hook or by crook, he needs to make sure he does it. It's as simple as that. I say it's as simple as that. It's also very complicated as well, because it may well be that what David Moyes says, this is what I want you to do, might be something that isn't something that sits well with Saeed Benrahma, or he feels he hasn't got the skill set to accommodate. I don't know. Like I say, that's a conversation between those two.
Listen, whatever happens. Right now, we are 6th in the league.
We are.
I'm off the back of a 2-1 win. A well worked and hard fought 2-1 win. Nonetheless, we still ended up talking about a subject that I didn't want to fucking talk about. I think we've done it in the right way, though.
Yeah.
I still need to talk about it. We go to Seville off the back of a hard fought win. Yes, we've got a couple of injuries. Yes, we're in a situation where it's been made a lot more difficult for us because of those injuries. But let's flip that around. Players coming in have got a point to prove. And the likes of Benny can now cement his place in the second half of this season, or the latter half of this season. So
definitely.
Vlasic, if he can come back from whatever knock he's got, can cement his place for the rest of the, or at least for a few more games, if Bowen or Antonio are not going to be fit enough again anytime soon.
Actually, that's a really good point that Tom makes, because obviously it was Eze that was said to be David Moyes' number one choice. And he's had a few injuries, hasn't he, since he's gone to Palace?
Yeah. Again,
so
less
it's
of the
one of those.
It's hard because one's been injured and one's just not been good enough. You take big. You can't. It's hard. But no, listen, I'm looking forward to Thursday. Unfortunately for me, I've got a live singer in the pub because it is St. Patrick's Day. So
yes.
I have a very large contingent of people that are going to want to celebrate that day. So we've got a live singer. It will be on. I will have it. I will have it on. I will be there watching it. What I will say is, it's huge. And so's the game.
Steady.
Sorry.
Steady.
Sorry.
Wow. Anyway, before we wrap it up, because we've been going for an hour and 10, so I think we've covered.
The first 20 minutes were my country music concept. But anyway.
No, that's fine. But just having a little look at it, is there anything in the live chat you want to sort of cover off before we knock it on the head?
I'm just going to go and talk about Sharky's asked for player ratings. I didn't see the game, so I don't really want to be unjust or anything, unless you want to tell me your player rating.
I gave them yesterday, and I'm trying to remember. So I think I gave Fab a 6 or a 7. He lost a mark for the punch that led to the Villa goal. I think I gave Cresswell a 6. I gave Johnson a 7, I think. I gave Dawson a 7. I gave Zuma an 8. I gave Souček a 6, I believe. I rated Rice as a 9. I thought, and it should also be noted that Steven Gerrard, I think he paid a big compliment to Declan Rice and said he was fantastic, or worse to that effect. Now, if you're getting bigged up by one of the best midfielders of the Premier League era, arguably one of the best midfielders in the world of his era, then yeah, that's a big compliment. I gave Rice a 9. I think I gave Benrahma and Fornals, I gave them a 7. And I know that they had moments during the game, the pair of them, where it didn't look like they were, the quality wasn't quite there, the consistency wasn't quite there. But Ben Rama got 2 assists and Fornell's got a goal. So, okay, they get a 7 for that. Lanzini, I thought, was a little bit disappointing for what I expect of him. Didn't have a bad game, but
Pissed her off. You pissed her off. She's coming for you.
no. Listen, he didn't have a bad game, but for the standards that I judged Lanzini by, I don't think he quite had his best game. As I say, it wasn't a poor game, but I think I gave him a 6. I think I gave Mickey either a 6 or a 7. I think it might have been a 6, but it was a strong 6. I think if he'd have stayed on the pitch for longer, I think he'd have definitely got a 7 as a minimum. And then the substitutes, I couldn't really mark Issa Diop because he was on the pitch for 3 minutes plus the 6 minutes of injury time. Then there was Fredericks. I think he looked decent enough. I think he was a 6, but only because he wasn't on the pitch that long. So I couldn't really mark him up as a 7. Who else? Who was the other? Oh, Yarmolenko. And I gave him a 10 because I think if you can come on with all of the crap that you've had to deal with in the last couple of weeks, with the fact that he must know that amongst the vast majority of West Ham fans, he's not exactly flavour of the month for various reasons. He showed great character, great resolve to come off of the bench in the situation that he's in. And the improvisation, the technique, the skill that he demonstrated was fantastic. And stuff it. I very, very rarely am minded to give anyone a 10. I break that rule for Andrei Yarmolenko yesterday. Player ratings done.
Got 5 things I've starred, Rob, so I'm just going to click on them one at a time.
Go for it.
So, Mitch, to answer your question, no. I'm like I say, I haven't seen any videos over this weekend due to not being about. So I've got to play catch up. So I might go back and I'll have a little look. Mm-hmm. Irish Tommy says knocking out Seville would be a big scalp that would make all the fans of teams and fans in Europe sit up, take notice. I think they've already set up and taken notice. The fact that
would make them sit bolt upright.
Oh, it would. But the fact that the Seville manager is still wary of a West Ham side, the fact that the Seville team didn't want West Ham in this round of the cup. I think people know
saying we were the biggest team that they could draw.
Yeah, and didn't want them. So that shows you a lot.
Yep.
Happy it cannot be given out on a public forum. I'm sure if you text Casey, Soapy Pictures, he might give you his news.
I don't know if it's out there in the public domain yet. I haven't looked on.
No, but again, if she sent you some chocolate eating, Sophie Suds, well, you don't know, do you? You might.
I might be persuaded.
Budgie, in light of weekends, emotional events, would you start Yarma in Antonio's place now? If Antonio isn't fit, yes.
I don't think you've got a choice. I don't think you've got a choice.
Is the answer. I think the man in front of the home side, in light of the support that he got, in the light of the fact that.
And he might shine in a European game.
Yeah, and the fact that, listen, with all of us behind him, and let's be honest, we haven't been often, and I still refer back to that. Yeah, but with all of us behind him tomorrow, Thursday night, we could be surprised. We could be surprised. I'd be very interested to see if Antonio, and it's not even maybe if Antonio is fit, it's if Bowen isn't fit, because Bowen would be the first one to slot up there, but then maybe Yarma could go right, left. But yes is the answer. If Antonio's not fit and we're not sure about Bowen, then yes, Yarma. And Mr. Rob, it is. It's on my birth certificate. Basically, my mum and dad had the argument of who named the firstborn. My mum said if it was a girl, my mum would get to name. My dad said if it was a boy, he would get to name. They agreed. My dad was a huge fan of John Wayne, whose nickname is or was the Duke. And hence my name. I was named after the single greatest cowboy, TV cowboy, film cowboy, entertainment cowboy that you could possibly think of. And no, that doesn't include the
He
King
wasn't
Cowboy.
really named after him because his real name was Marion.
I was named after him because it was his nickname. So shut your noise, hole, right? 18 messages since I last looked in the live chat. We only delete comments on here if you mention Spurs being your second team, because you really should only have one team in the Premier League. Just saying, you might have another favourite team, but like that would be for me. My other favourite team would be Borussia Dortmund.
We only delete comments if we feel that they're a little bit naughty,
antagonistic, and yes. I thought you were called Duke because I was regularly a hazard. Daisy, surely Tom. Tommy, we are no longer going to be talking if you keep up with that rubbish. There is no
so you
chance.
could have been called Clint if
no,
in an alternate,
I
in an
wouldn't have
alternate
done.
reality. You could have been
No,
called
I would
Clint.
never have done, because Clint Eastwood is not a cowboy. He was an actor that acted a couple of times in spaghetti westerns. He was not a cowboy.
You could get in trouble if your name was Clint, because think about it, on a birthday cake, if you got the L in the eye a little bit too close, you might be in trouble.
I really,
just
don't like her. She needs to do one.
Does she?
Right. Hammerhead thought I was after the film. It was a TV show before it was a film.
Oh my word.
But no, Tommy, he really wasn't. He really wasn't.
We'll have to sit down and have a couple of pints of Guinness and discuss it one evening.
No, there's no discussion. It's a fact. John Wayne is the best cowboy.
Fair enough.
I think I've covered everything I need to cover.
Okay, right. Okay, so before we go, please don't forget to like, comment on and share the stream. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already done so. Hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. As always, we thank you very much indeed for your support.
Has Mr. Jeremy done his walk yet?
I don't think so. Thank you for reminding me. I'm pretty sure he hasn't yet. Please do consider giving a few bob to Mr. Jeremy Wheeler, who was on with Jake Cox on West Ham Unofficial. Again, if you haven't already done so, get across there and subscribe on YouTube. He's doing some great things over there, the young lad. Please consider giving to Jeremy Wheeler's 13-mile walk for the Alzheimer's Society. You have the Just Giving link there. We would encourage you to give as generously as you can. There is no donation that is too small, but dig deep. This is a really worthwhile cause. If any of you guys have actually seen the effects of Alzheimer's, it ain't pretty. So, have a little look into that. And we thank you very much indeed for your support. Before I do, tell you what I'm going to do to make it easier for you guys in the live chat. I'm going to copy. And through the wonders of technology. Oh, you're going back into the comments, so we're not finishing just yet. Then
just 2 more seconds.
Okay, all right. Go on then. Crack on.
Tom,
it's about to bugger on at dinner.
Will you bloody stop? Right. Was not named after a dog. Tommy, I have watched Unforgiven, and I can still tell you you're wrong. He was great in it, but he's still not.
What's your favourite Clint Eastwood film?
Me, I think it probably would be that, if I'm honest.
No, not Clint Eastwood. John Wayne.
John Wayne. I have a couple actually. I absolutely love Rio Bravo. I think that's because of the comedic and Sons of Kate the Elder as well, because of the comedic value that Dean Martin brings to the film. In Rio Bravo, he doesn't intend to bring comedic value, but he plays the role of the drunken deputy sheriff so well that it really does carry the film along. John Wayne is his usual self in it. But there was one film that John Wayne did. I was 13 years old when I watched it. I hated my name growing up. and I watched The Quiet Man with my dad when I was 13,
Yeah.
and was absolutely blown. It's not a western. It was set in Ireland, um, and I was absolutely blown away by the guy. You know it's John Wayne if you listen to any voice clip of him and you close your eyes, you know it's that man. He has such a commanding voice. He has such a commanding, you know, size, personality, everything else, and everything I've seen him in, all even TV interviews and everything else. He legend. It's the only way I can describe the guy. And I was proud to be named after him. I really was.
Still are?
Oh, listen, without a doubt, I think the guy is absolutely fantastic. What I will say is, he was given a run for his money with regards to being a cowboy now by the great Sam Elliott,
Okay.
who has possibly the greatest mustache in the world ever. And Joan made a comment. Joan said, "Get off your horse and drink your milk." John Wayne never said that. John Wayne never said that.
It's a bit like
Okay.
"Beam Me Up, Scotty" that they say was said by Captain Kirk, and he never once uttered those words. Well, he did utter those words, but not in that sequence.
Me and Tommy are talking again. Tombstone is an absolutely amazing film. Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday in that movie he steals the show. He actually said, considering it's about, it should have been Kurt Russell in the title role, or in the lead role as Wyatt Earp. Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday absolutely steals that film. And I'll be your Huckleberry. So, on that note, they're all back to taking the piss out of me in the chat with my Crocs and Christmas decorations. True Grit, Rob, great film. Hammerhead says the closest he's got to watching a Western is Back to the Future 3. It's a good
Fair.
Western.
Yeah, I'd say it was a good Western. Right. Are we going to end this now?
I'm happy. Go.
What are we?
They're fucking massive and slightly injured.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that on Wednesday. Anyway, come on, you Irons, and we're going to do our pre-match on Wednesday. What? Probably around about the same time.
Round about the same time.
What could possibly go wrong?